Google doesn't genuinely care about location-based targeting much anymore. Just you working through the process and talking and explaining it is enough to create written content and create video content that shows that you are trustworthy. You don't need to write anything. You can build the whole content piece, the whole written blog, in just recording your video. The Talkin podcast is brought to you by Detailing Growth. That's detailinggrowth.com. Detailing Growth is the industry's only US-based full-stack agency that provides you with full custom web design, ongoing SEO, local SEO via Google Business Profile, ad management for Google and Meta, and an entire business suite of automations with our Grit Suite CRM. Detailing Growth also helps businesses with consulting and business coaching and systems implementation. Head over to detailinggrowth.com and sign up for a free strategy session. Hey everybody, this is Gabe from Detailing Growth and the Talking Pain podcast. Today, I'm going to talk to you about November's Google Core Update. This is marking I think this is their second or third Core Update for this year. And they're coming more and more frequently. So that means that we're going to have to just play the sit and wait game, watch what happens, and then adjust. But I want to lead you with some information that we have from accounts under management that hopefully explain to you what's working and what you should be doing as well. So when we look at the accounts that are currently under management, there is a trend among the accounts that are staying active on content. Now, let me break this down so that you understand what they're doing and how you can start to implement this in your business and how it can help you. Now, what we've seen is Google doesn't genuinely care about location-based targeting much anymore. It's still something that we put time and energy into to cast your net and cover the markets that you want to cover. But what really makes the difference in conversions, meaning people that actually opt in and give you their information, and people that actually call you, is the level of demonstrated expertise that you have in your content. And that's both video and on page with your website. So when we look at the market, this is the data that we see. And it's consistent through all of the businesses that are putting time and energy into this specific area. And what's happening is that people who are doing this are starting to outrank people that are outside of their area that they're originally serving. And what I mean by that is if I'm a shop and I'm advertising 15 miles away and there's another shop that's literally in that location where I'm attempting to target to, we are seeing that the shop that is executing on this strategy is starting to outrank them in their location areas. And that's an important strategy that you need to capitalize on. So what we're seeing is this, and we're watching it happen in real time. Most of the other shops are optimizing for market location, which is, again, a part of a strategy that works. What we're seeing the bigger shops do, and the ones that are focusing heavy, is the bigger shops are focusing more on demonstrating expertise by showing the vehicles that they're working on. And what I mean by that is they're creating content, meaning video and blog content, and updating their content to show what they're doing, the vehicles they're working on, how they're making a difference in those vehicles, the services that they're doing. They're demonstrating and explaining the service expertise, and they're showing how they solve real problems for people. And since Google's AI deployed, the search algorithm and how things are ranking from search volume has largely changed in that Google values now how you solve problems and not the service you offer. So that means that if you're putting content out there, it's not just answering one question, it's answering the other related questions to that. And Google is smart enough to understand how a user asks those questions, because Google in and itself owns the search service, so they log and understand what the user journey is like when somebody starts searching for something. They ask one question, it leads to another, and then it leads to another. Google understands this, so we need to try and make sure our content also shows that we understand this as well. Most businesses are stuck in this cycle of pumping money into ads. They want to rank in the ad box. They want to rank in the map pack. They want to rank in the organic results. There's a lot of opportunity to show up first on Google, but you have to pick and choose your battles. And this is the one that's going to net you the most high paying and high converting customers as well. So the key here is we want to start documenting the real work. Like every car that comes into your shop is another opportunity to create more content. And it doesn't need to be this big, convoluted, confounded thing that you're doing. It can be a simplified process. The process can be very simple. We don't need to overcomplicate it. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck in the weeds. So I'm going to break this down now into an actionable framework that you can use in your shop every day. Give me 60 seconds and I'm going to tell you why your marketing strategy sucks for your shop. If you run a detail, window tint, or specialize in ceramic coatings and paint protection film, you may have found yourself asking, why aren't we getting enough leads? The problem is deeper than exposure or awareness. It's about the system behind your business. A basic website and occasional ads is not going to cut it. My own shop was once in the same position. We have the skills, we got the drive, we got the passion, but not enough cars in the shop to do the work. After testing and refining a comprehensive strategy, everything changed. That's how my shop scaled to 7 figures. The system isn't a one-off success. It's been adapted and applied across the industry, from detailers just starting out to established businesses scaling to 7 and even 8 figures. Set up a call with me at the link below. We'll audit your current strategy, and I'm going to tell you how we can help you fix your marketing, grow faster, and do it better. So when we create content, we're doing it for not only the client that's reading the page, but we're doing it for AI as well, because AI thinks systematically. And that's going to be the problem that we're solving, the process for solving it, and the actual solution. So whenever we make content and create content, that's what we want to think about. And it's not hard to create documentation around this. We can systematize this. It's not super hard. And you can delegate this to somebody on your team. If they can use a cell phone, that's all they need. They don't need to have a professional presence. All they need to do is be able to speak and record. That's it. So here's the approach. You're going to document your work. You're going to build content around actual expertise doing that work, expertise surrounding the process, the products, outcomes, and specific vehicle types. That's an important piece to know because search trends have changed. Search trends now aren't ceramic coating installer near me. It's Tesla Model 3 ceramic coating specialist. That's the other takeaway here, is that search behavior has changed. And the high net worth individual and high net person who's ready to look for the right shop has a different search behavior than your normal user does. So it's important to take that into account when we're creating. So this is the systematic approach. Document your work, use it as content to create real expertise, use it as a sales tool, insert it into your drip sequence, and that will grow your territory naturally. And you monitor and adjust over time. Now, I know that I've said I'm going to give you the implementation strategy. So here it is, finally. This is how you can start a documentation approach for every single vehicle that comes into your shop. And here's what it looks like every day. When a vehicle comes in, you're already taking photos, right? Hopefully you're using something like your Able or some other software that allows you to document your photos. We take pre-wash, post-wash, physical damage, and then anything we find during and then after. Those are all the photos that we take. And they all go into your Able. Instead of just taking those photos quickly, take another 30 seconds and think about the important pieces of how you're approaching that car. And take another 30 seconds and take one more set of pictures. And if you need to separate them in your camera roll so you know where they start and stop, because when you look at your camera feed, there'll just be tons and tons of pictures of the car. So turn your camera phone at the floor, take a picture of that twice, so that way you know where the separator is. Then you can come back and say, okay, these are my content pictures. And then you focus, you zoom out a little bit, you capture more detail, and you try and capture more of what you want to talk about in the content. And that just takes another 30 seconds to do. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes as a part of the process. This is what you want to think about when you're taking these photos. What specific issue are we solving? And what is the customer actually going to be concerned about? Moving ahead, recording content doesn't necessarily need to be difficult either. All we need to do is just prop the phone up. We could use a tripod if we want. We hit record. We can talk out loud about the process. Hopefully you're wearing a body mic. Super easy. You can even get a crappy Amazon body mic. You don't need to have this super high-end, over-the-top production. You don't need to have crazy editing. All you need to do is just trim the fat. And just you working through the process and talking and explaining it is enough to create written content and create video content that shows that you are trustworthy. You want to capture what you're doing because you're already doing the work. Why don't you just take a little bit of extra time and talk about it? You want to show why you're doing certain methods, talk about your process and why the process is important. What I don't want you to do is get caught up in creating perfection, because there are other shops that are going to be bigger than you that have a perfect content production team. And you know what? Great for them. You don't need to be that to create a high-end experience. You don't need to have those things, because done is better than perfect. And genuinely, you're not doing this for the other people around you. You're not doing it to compare to other businesses. You're doing it for your customer, and you're doing it for the person that you will ultimately build a relationship with. That's who this is for. When you're done doing the work, you can take a walk around video. When you take that walk around video, you can talk about the finished product. You can include a selfie video as well. That's not a big deal. And if you're not going to create the written content for this, talking about it and articulating on it in those videos, super, super important thing you don't want to skip. The key is that we're capturing real work, real solutions, and real documentation, which turns into real world content. And that's what Google's AI and your higher end affluent customer wants to see. Now, this is what usually happens. Most people will create all of this and then they'll just stick on a shelf. It'll just sit. The key is to put this into action. We have to make this actionable. We got to get it done. We got to deploy it. We got to get it off our plate. If you're doing this by yourself, you can set some time during the week, carve it out on your calendar, block it off specifically. Phone goes, do not disturb. You tell everybody, do not fucking bother me while I'm in here working on this. Go away. And you can put that time into building this, creating those blogs, transcribing your video, getting all of that text put together. Like I said before, it doesn't need to be this giant fancy productions. All you need is a tripod, maybe a shop light, phone mount for your tripod, and like at least a phone mic that gets you wireless audio. It doesn't need to be this big over the top production. But what you do need is to set aside time for yourself to execute on this. Now, for those of you that have a web team like Detailing Growth, this is super easy. You create a drive folder, you put the date on it, and you put the car on it. You dump all the pictures in there. You dump any video content that you have in there, and then you drop in any text content as well. Hopefully, one of the video pieces also has you going around and talking about it. And that's the beauty about this, is you don't need to write anything. You can build the whole content piece, the whole written blog in just recording your video, because we can take video, transcribe it to text, and then convert that into readable content. This does not need to be complicated. Simplify your approach. Do more with less. That is how you execute this at the highest possible level. And that is how you set yourself up to be an expert that ranks in places that you genuinely wouldn't be ranking otherwise, because people who want expertise are served good, expert-filled content far outside of what your local market shows. So don't ever forget that. The key to growth and into creating an experience for people is to showcase your expertise and create the content around it. And you don't need to type a word. All you need to do is record it. Now, in some of my next content, I'm going to show you what I do to transcribe this. And it's not super hard. You can use a bunch of free tools to do it. This is what you're going to do today. You're going to start documenting your actual work. You're going to build content around it. You're going to use it in your sales, and you're going to trust the process. Because I promise you that if you put time and energy into this and you make it a part of your process, it will work and it will pay off dividends for you. You don't need to do it all at once, but you do need to start doing it. And that's what makes it count. Start now, start fast. Because speed to implementation is the key to success with any plan. Because the longer you wait to put it into action, the longer you're going to stew on it and forget it and be overwhelmed. Because even if it doesn't work right the first time, if you can implement it and it doesn't work, you can adjust on it and implement it again. The key is actually doing it and putting it in play. And that goes for anything in your business. The longer you wait to do something, the harder it's going to be to do it. Because the world is always changing and nothing is perfect, especially when it comes to business. So hopefully this was helpful. If you found this helpful, please like, subscribe on YouTube, and subscribe to the Detail Shift newsletter. The link for that is down in the video description and show notes. And if you have a shop or you're a mobile detailer and you want to start executing and growing your business, then you want to hit us up over at workwith.detailinggrowth.com, where you can click the link down in the description to set up a time. I want to hear about your shop. I want to hear about what your operation is. At bare minimum, I'll be able to give you an honest assessment of where you're at and which way I'd recommend you go. And at the end of the day, that's all I can offer you, is at least a solid look at a plan. All right? So thanks for listening, guys. I appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. I'm super excited for 2025. We got a lot of great things coming.